Welcome to AudioCert, where the official study guides are brought to life. And welcome to The Deep Dive, where we meticulously unravel the most crucial information, distilling it into actionable insights so you can be not just informed, but strategically well prepared. Today, we're embarking on a critical exploration. We're diving into the very foundation of modern project leadership, specifically the Project Management Professional, or PMP, certification material. Our focus. It's the game-changing 7th edition of A Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge. You probably know it as the PMBO guide. We're kicking off with Chapter 1, simply titled Introduction. Now, this isn't just a preamble, folks. It lays the essential groundwork for understanding the really profound paradigm shifts in effective project management today.
Welcome, listener. It's truly excellent to have you with us for this focused exploration. As any seasoned professional knows, the PMP certification isn't merely a credential. It's really a global benchmark. It signifies a proven level of competence and, frankly, an unwavering dedication in the often turbulent field of project management. And at the heart of this benchmark, well, it's the PMBO guide. It's absolutely vital to recognize that this isn't, a static textbook that you just memorize. It's a dynamic, living, comprehensive guide. It's continually evolving to keep pace with a complex and, let's face it, ever-changing world of projects. So, Chapter 1, our starting point today, serves as your essential orientation. It's here that we'll grasp the fundamental why and the how behind this latest edition and its core foundational concepts. It really provides the intellectual scaffolding for everything that follows.
Understood. So for this detailed analysis, our mission is clear then. We're going to navigate the significant architectural and philosophical changes embedded within this edition. We need to comprehend its core structure and, perhaps most importantly for experienced practitioners listening, truly grasp the guiding philosophies that underpin effective project management in today's rapidly transforming landscape. Like you said, this isn't about rote memorization. It's about deeply understanding how all these interconnected pieces fit together, how they empower better project outcomes, making you a more strategic and adaptable leader. Okay, let's start unpacking this. You've highlighted how this isn't a static textbook, but a dynamic guide. And perhaps the most immediate striking evidence of that evolution is its entirely new structure. For many of us accustomed to previous iterations, this is, well, it's quite a departure. So let's unpack how this latest edition reorganizes the project management landscape. What are the main sections we need to be aware of right from the start as we open this guide?
That's an excellent point to anchor our discussion, because the structure itself, it provides a profound signal about the philosophical shift the Project Management Institute, or PMI, is making. Beyond the introductory material we're discussing now, this edition organizes its core content into 3 highly significant sections. And this reflects a definitive move away from a prescriptive, process-based approach towards one that is much more principles-based and performance-oriented. It's a deliberate reimagining of how we think about and execute project work. It's quite fundamental. The first of these sections, and arguably the most significant in terms of practical application, is Section 2, Project Performance Domains. Now, for the seasoned project manager, these aren't just arbitrary categories. Imagine your project as a complex organism. These 8 project performance domains are like its vital organs. Each performs a critical, integrated function that is absolutely crucial for enabling the successful delivery of a project and its intended outcomes. They're not isolated silos, They're in constant dynamic interplay. They represent the high-level functions or activities project teams universally engage in. Doesn't matter if you're building software or launching a global marketing campaign or constructing a new city bridge. This integrated view, it's a massive departure from simply listing processes. It recognizes that successful outcomes emerge from synchronized efforts across all these organs, not just a linear march through predefined steps.
So, like vital organs all working together. I like that analogy. Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's illustrate with a couple of these domains. Take stakeholders. This domain isn't just about, identifying who's involved or affected by the project. It's about proactive influence and co-creation. It recognizes that stakeholder misalignment is often a silent killer of projects, maybe far more insidious than technical challenges. It compels us to think about how we build bridges, how we foster collaboration, or consider uncertainty. This domain reframes risk not just as something to avoid, but as a source of potential competitive advantage if you manage it strategically. It's about cultivating a mindset where risks are opportunities to innovate, not just obstacles to overcome. See, these domains emphasize what needs to be done, focusing squarely on the desired project outcomes. That makes them relevant across any industry or project approach, agile, waterfall, hybrid, you name it. We'll definitely explore each of these 8 domains in meticulous detail in future discussions, but for now, yeah, imagine them as interconnected, dynamic hubs of activity, each vital for holistic project success.
Okay, interconnected hubs. Got it. What's the next key section then?
Moving on to the second key section, we have Section 3, Tailoring. This section describes what tailoring is, precisely why it's necessary in today's diverse and, let's be honest, often unpredictable project landscape. And it provides a clear overview of what aspects of a project you should consider tailoring and, crucially, how to effectively approach tailoring individual projects. The fundamental truth here is that project management is emphatically not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. It just isn't. Tailoring is the deliberate, thoughtful adaptation of processes, of governance structures, and overall approaches to make them most suitable for a specific project's unique environment, its stakeholders, and the actual work that needs to be done.
So it's about customization, making it fit perfectly for this project.
Exactly. Imagine commissioning a bespoke suit. It's not off the rack. It's designed specifically for one person to fit perfectly. It complements their individual stature, their style, the occasion. Similarly, tailoring ensures that your project management practices are perfectly fitted to your project. It optimizes its efficiency and effectiveness rather than rigidly following some generic, potentially ill-fitting template. This flexibility is absolutely crucial for achieving your desired outcomes efficiently and effectively. It's about being judicious and strategic in your approach, recognizing that context is king. So this section provides the how-to for adapting the core concepts introduced in those performance domains, ensuring they're applied intelligently.
Okay, performance domains are the what. Tailoring is the how to adapt. What's the third piece?
And finally, we come to Section 4, Models, Methods, and Artifacts. This section presents a concise but incredibly valuable description of commonly used models, methods, and artifacts that project teams can leverage. This is essentially a comprehensive modern toolbox for project managers. Think of it this way. Previous editions might have handed you a specific wrench and told you exactly how to use it. This section, however, is more like being given access to a fully stocked, state-of-the-art workshop, complete with an expert guide showing you what's available.
A workshop. Okay, so lots of tools to choose from.
Precisely. The PMBO Guide 7th edition explicitly recognizes that no single publication, no matter how extensive, can possibly capture every single tool, technique, or practice that exists across the vast spectrum of project management. It's just too broad. So instead, it offers a curated array of versatile instruments. For instance, a model might be a framework for understanding complex relationships, like, say, a stakeholder engagement matrix, or maybe a visual representation of a system's architecture. A method could be a specific technique, such as prototyping for product development, or earned value management for performance tracking, or even a particular ideation technique like brainstorming. And an artifact might be a tangible output or document like a risk register, a sprint backlog, a project charter, or maybe a user story map. The true power here lies in understanding when to pick up, say, the digital modeling software versus the physical whiteboard. It empowers project teams to thoughtfully choose the most appropriate tools from this vast collection for their tailored approach, rather than being limited to a prescribed set. It empowers choice and informed decision-making.
That emphasis on flexibility is quite striking. So this structure really emphasizes flexibility and practical application rather than a rigid prescriptive process, right? It makes me wonder, for those of us accustomed to earlier editions, just how revolutionary is this new structure when we compare it to the PMBOK Guide's past iterations? What does it fundamentally change about a project manager's everyday approach?
You've hit the nail on the head. This isn't just an iterative update, it's a fundamental re-architecture. Compared to earlier editions, especially the 6th edition and prior, which were often seen as, well, highly prescriptive with a strong emphasis on processes, inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs, famously known as ITTOs.
Ah, yes, the ITTOs. Lots of memorization there.
Exactly. This 7th edition is a significant departure. It's moving from "this is how you must do it" to something more like "these are the areas you need to focus on, the principles to guide you, and here's a toolbox of options to help you get it done efficiently and effectively." For practitioners, it fundamentally changes their approach by demanding greater strategic thought, critical judgment, and continuous adaptation, rather than just, following a rigid template. It's really about empowerment, not just compliance.
That makes perfect sense. A flexible framework, a deliberate adaptation strategy, and a comprehensive toolbox. It sounds much more empowering for project managers, like you said. But for all this flexibility, where do the core guiding principles actually come into play? How do they ensure that this adaptable approach remains grounded and effective? What's fascinating here is Well, the clear distinction the PMBO guide makes between its content and the standard for project management. Can you explain this relationship and what principles truly mean in this specific advanced project management context?
Absolutely. This is a truly foundational concept for understanding the entire guide, and frankly, modern project management itself. The work that gets done within those project performance domains we just discussed, it's always unequivocally guided by the principles of project management. Without this guiding light, that flexibility we talked about could easily devolve into chaos.
So principles are the guardrails, in a way.
You could think of it like that. So for experienced practitioners, these principles aren't just abstract ideals. As they are clearly articulated in the standard for project management, a principle is a fundamental norm, a truth, or a value. They are the 12 non-negotiable truths that dictate how we achieve success, regardless of the methodology we choose. Think of principles as the ethos or the spirit of project management. They are universal truths about effective conduct, transcending specific methodologies, industries, or organizational cultures. They don't tell you what specific step to take next, but rather how you should conduct yourself in your projects. They promote desired behaviors, ways of thinking, and overall attitudes. They provide the moral and strategic compass for every action and decision within a project, ensuring ethical, value-driven, and sustainable outcomes.
Okay, a moral and strategic compass. How do they relate specifically to the performance domains then? Is there overlap?
Right, regarding principles versus performance domains, while there is certainly conceptual overlap, after all, principles are demonstrated within the domains they have distinct roles. Principles guide behavior. They shape the mindset and actions of the project team, whereas the performance domains present broad areas of focus where that behavior is demonstrated. To use a visual analogy, and you can actually see this illustrated in Figure 1-1 of the PMBO guide, imagine principles sitting above the performance domains.
Okay.
The principles are like the North Star or the guiding light, influencing all activities within each domain. They provide the crucial why and how that shapes the what of the domains. Without principles, the domains would just be a list of things to do, right? But with principles, they become areas for thoughtful, ethical, and effective action. They prevent projects from simply becoming a series of disconnected tasks.
That's a really helpful distinction. Could we maybe walk through some of those key principles, give them a bit more life?
Absolutely. Let's delve deeper into some of these key project management principles, as they truly are the bedrock of effective project delivery. And often, they demand a deeper shift in mindset than just learning a new process. First, be a diligent, respectful, and caring steward. This principle isn't just about following rules. It's about embodying responsibility, ethical conduct, and accountability for the resources and the trust placed in you. It really elevates the project manager's role to that of a true guardian.
So stewardship, like protecting project resources and people.
Exactly. For example, this could mean conscientiously selecting sustainable materials for a construction project to minimize environmental impact. Or maybe ensuring the project team's well-being by proactively managing workloads and fostering a psychologically safe environment. The challenge often lies in balancing those short-term project pressures with the long-term stewardship responsibilities. Next, focus on value. This is truly critical. It drives every decision from inception right through to delivery. Its elevation means we're moving definitively away from just building features to actually solving real problems.
That's a huge shift in perspective.
It is. It's a crucial distinction, nudging project managers to constantly ask why. Ensuring every effort directly contributes to measurable business outcomes rather than just ticking boxes on a requirements list. An example isn't just building a new software product, but ensuring the product actually solves a critical customer problem and provides tangible business value, leading to increased revenue or improved efficiency. If a feature doesn't add value, you should question it, even if it was initially requested. Then, build quality into processes and deliverables. This principle emphasizes proactively integrating quality from the very beginning of a project, rather than waiting for inspection at the end. It's about preventing defects rather than just detecting them, fostering a culture of excellence.
Quality from the start, not bolted on at the end.
Precisely. In software development, for instance, this means adopting practices like continuous integration, automated testing, and peer reviews from day one. Failing to adhere to this often leads to costly rework, delays, and, frustrated stakeholders later in the project lifecycle. Another key one, create a collaborative team environment. This principle is all about fostering an atmosphere of trust, respect, and open communication within the project team. moving beyond individual silos to achieve collective success. It's about recognizing that diverse perspectives lead to stronger solutions.
So teamwork makes the dream work, basically.
Huh? Essentially, yes. Daily stand-up meetings, where team members openly share progress, challenges, and offer support to each other, are a great example of putting this principle into practice. It ensures everyone is aligned and feels supported. This proactive culture building is often overlooked in favor of purely task-oriented management. All right, demonstrate leadership behaviors. This isn't just for the project manager, you know. It's for everyone on the team, particularly those in formal leadership roles. It's about inspiring, motivating, and empowering the team rather than simply issuing commands and trying to control every detail. It recognizes that true leadership is about influence and enablement.
Leading by example, maybe.
That's part of it. An example would be a senior team member actively mentoring junior colleagues, allowing them to take ownership of tasks, celebrating their successes publicly, and providing constructive feedback. That cultivates future leaders and empowers current ones. Okay, optimize risk responses. This principle calls for proactively identifying and addressing uncertainties, both potential threats that could derail the project and opportunities that could enhance it. It's about strategic foresight and dynamic adaptability.
Not just avoiding risk, but looking for opportunities too.
Exactly. This means not just identifying risks, but developing robust contingency plans for critical resources, like having a backup supplier for a unique component, or even planning to capitalize on a market opportunity if it arises unexpectedly. The challenge is moving beyond basic risk registers to truly embedding risk thinking into daily decision-making. Next, navigate complexity. Projects are rarely straightforward, are they? They often involve intricate interdependencies, dynamic environments, and emergent properties. This principle means understanding the interconnectedness of project elements and adapting effectively to evolving circumstances and unforeseen challenges.
How do you even do that practically?
Well, using visual tools like Kanban boards to manage intricate workflows, creating dependency maps, or employing scenario planning helps teams to visualize, understand, and manage complex interrelationships. It helps prevent paralysis in the face of ambiguity. Then there's effectively engage with stakeholders. This principle is about identifying, understanding the nuanced needs of, and actively involving all parties who can affect or are affected by the project. It goes beyond just informing them. It's about active participation, managing expectations, and building consensus.
So communication and involvement are key.
Absolutely. Regularly communicating transparent project status updates, gathering their feedback early and often on deliverables, and even co-creating solutions with end users are key ways to engage stakeholders effectively. It ensures the final product truly meets their needs and secures their buy-in. Now, tailor based on context. This principle reinforces what we discussed earlier in Section 3, elevating it to a fundamental guiding truth. It means deliberately adapting the project approach to suit the unique characteristics of the project and its specific environment. It's about applying critical judgment and wisdom, not rigid adherence.
Like choosing agile versus waterfall based on the project needs.
Precisely. For instance, choosing an iterative, agile approach for a highly innovative product with evolving requirements is tailoring for high uncertainty, whereas a more predictive, sequential approach would be chosen for a construction project with fixed physical constraints and strict regulations. The power is in making this informed, strategic choice. We also have embraced adaptability and resiliency. This principle stresses the importance of being prepared for changes and having the capacity to recover gracefully from setbacks. Projects rarely go exactly as planned, especially in today's volatile markets.
Planning for the unexpected, essentially.
Right. Having well-thought-out fallback plans for critical tasks, cross-training team members so multiple people can handle key roles if someone is unavailable, or building in buffer time for unexpected issues are all examples of embracing adaptability and resiliency. It ensures the project can absorb shocks and continue toward its goals. Almost there. Recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions. This principle reminds us that projects don't exist in a vacuum. They are always part of a larger, interconnected system, interacting with the parent organization, other concurrent projects, external environments, even broader societal factors.
Seeing the bigger picture.
Exactly. Considering how a new software system impacts other departments, how external market shifts might affect project viability, or how a legal change could introduce new constraints that demonstrates this principle. It forces a holistic, systems thinking approach. And finally, enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. This principle positions the project not just as an effort to deliver a specific product or service, but as a catalyst for positive transformation. It's about driving beneficial change within the organization or for its beneficiaries.
So the project is a means to an end, the end being positive change.
Precisely. Managing the organizational change associated with a new business process implementation, ensuring employees are trained, supported, and ultimately adopt the new ways of working is a prime example. It recognizes that delivering a product is only half the battle. Ensuring its successful adoption and realization of benefits is the ultimate goal.
That's a truly comprehensive breakdown of the principles. And among these 12, which of these principles do you think is most challenging for project teams in today's fast-paced, often resource-constrained world? And perhaps just a quick thought on how we might start to address that challenge.
That's a profound question, and it often depends heavily on the specific organizational culture or the project context. However, personally, I often see teams struggle most consistently with navigate complexity and optimize risk responses in modern environments.
Complexity and risk, why those two specifically?
Well, the sheer interconnectedness of modern projects, you've got distributed teams, complex technical integrations, rapidly shifting market demands. It makes truly understanding and navigating complexity, well, a Herculean task sometimes. And the pressure to deliver quickly often leads to complexities being oversimplified or risks being maybe glossed over or overlooked entirely. We tend to focus on what's immediately visible, the urgent stuff, rather than the subtle emergent properties of a complex system.
So how do we fight that tendency?
To address this, project teams really need to embrace things like visual management tools, foster continuous learning, and dedicate specific time for what you might call sense-making activities, rather than just pure task execution. For risk, it requires cultivating a culture where identifying and discussing potential threats and opportunities isn't seen as negative or time-wasting, but as a critical, proactive contribution. It takes real discipline, foresight, and honestly, a willingness to slow down momentarily to truly understand the landscape, rather than blindly rushing forward.
That analogy of principles as our North Star is incredibly powerful. Here's where it gets really interesting, and it makes me think about those project performance domains we touched on earlier. They're the actual terrains, aren't they, where we navigate using that compass. So the principles are like the moral and strategic compass, and the performance domains are the fields where we apply that compass. Could you quickly recap those 8 domains and give us a crisp reminder of what each entails now that we understand the guiding principles?
Certainly, you've got it exactly right. These are the fundamental interconnected areas where project teams are always focusing their efforts to achieve desired outcomes, all while being guided by those 12 principles. 1. Stakeholders. This domain is all about identifying, understanding, and proactively engaging with everyone who has a vested interest in the project. It's ensuring their needs are understood, their influence is managed, and their expectations are aligned with project objectives, really fostering a truly collaborative ecosystem.
Okay, managing relationships.
Team. This centers on building, supporting, and empowering the group of individuals who are actually doing the work. Involves fostering a positive, high-performing team environment, ensuring they have the necessary skills and resources, and facilitating effective collaboration and communication within the team.
Taking care of the people doing the work.
3. Development approach and life cycle. Here, the focus is on strategically deciding how the work gets done. Choosing the most appropriate approach for the project, predictive, adaptive, hybrid, and then defining the project's life cycle phases. It's about selecting the right operational rhythm for optimal delivery.
Choosing how to run the project.
4. Planning. This domain is all about defining the strategic path forward. Developing the detailed project plan, establishing scope, schedules, budgets, quality requirements. It's the meticulous groundwork for execution.
Setting the roadmap.
5. Project work. This is where the actual execution of tasks happens. Managing the day-to-day activities, allocating resources, implementing the plan, and proactively overcoming challenges to move the project forward.
Getting things done.
6. Delivery. This domain is centered on ensuring that the right value is created and successfully delivered to the stakeholders, producing deliverables that meet requirements and, crucially, achieve the desired business outcomes.
Delivering the value. 7. Measurement. Absolutely crucial for tracking progress and performance. Evaluating performance against baselines, identifying variances, generating insights to inform decision-making, keeping the project on track.
Checking how we're doing.
Uncertainty. And finally, this domain is about dealing with the inherent risks and opportunities present in every project. Proactively identifying, analyzing, and responding to minimize threats and maximize positive outcomes, turning challenges into advantages.
Managing the unknowns. Got it. It sounds like this edition truly represents a significant evolution in project management thinking then. Can you pinpoint the most significant shifts or changes compared to previous versions? So what does this all mean for project practitioners who have perhaps been used to older versions of the PMBO guide for years?
You're absolutely right. This edition truly marks a major paradigm shift in project management guidance. It's not just an update. It's a reorientation that demands a new way of thinking, especially for seasoned practitioners. For those who've worked with previous editions, the changes are profound, and they impact their daily work in several key ways. One of the most significant changes, maybe the most significant, is the explicit focus on delivering outcomes, not just strictly adhering to processes. Earlier editions of the PMBO guide, particularly up to the 6th edition, were heavily process-based. Remember, they detailed 49 distinct processes, meticulously organized across 5 process groups like initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing.
Right, and the 10 knowledge areas.
And the 10 knowledge areas, exactly: scope management, schedule management, risk management, and so on. And within those processes, they frequently use the ITTO's inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs to support implementation. It was a very prescriptive, almost do these steps in this order kind of approach. The shift in the 7th edition moves decisively away from this highly structured method to one that prioritizes the results achieved and the guiding principles behind the work.
So outcomes over outputs, in a way.
Precisely. To use that analogy again, imagine you're learning to cook. The old PMBOK guide was like a highly detailed recipe book. It told you exactly when to chop the onions, when to saute the garlic, how long to simmer the sauce. Those were the ITTOs, the precise steps and ingredients. This new edition, however, is more like a culinary school. It teaches you the fundamental principles of cooking, understanding flavor profiles, mastering heat management, knowing how different ingredients react, and then it introduces you to the different stages of meal preparation, which are analogous to the performance domains. It empowers you, the chef, to create your own recipes that consistently deliver delicious outcomes, tailored to the ingredients you have and the tastes you're trying to achieve, rather than rigidly following someone else's recipe.
I like that. It sounds much more creative and adaptable.
It is. And the implication here is profound. This change provides significantly greater flexibility. It allows project teams to adopt the most suitable approach for their unique context, fostering an environment of agility and adaptability, which is absolutely crucial in today's rapidly changing business landscape. Closely related to this is the elevation of tailoring as a core competency. As you discussed, tailoring is the deliberate adaptation of the project management approach, its governance, and its processes. Now, this process isn't random. It's driven by the guiding project management principles, the organizational values, and the specific organizational culture. This is a direct consequence of that shift to focusing on outcomes and being guided by principles. Instead of enforcing a rigid methodology, the PMBOK guide explicitly expects project managers to intelligently and thoughtfully adapt their strategies.
So it's not just okay to tailor, it's expected.
It's expected, yes.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about picking between agile or waterfall as a blanket approach. It's about customizing every aspect of project management, from the frequency of communication to the specific risk management techniques employed to the level of detail and documentation, all based on the project's specific needs, the team's capabilities, the external environment, and the organizational context. It demands critical thinking and sound judgment from the project manager and the team.
Can you give that example again, the app versus the building?
Sure. Consider a mini case study. Imagine 2 very different projects. One is a project to launch a new, highly innovative mobile app into a competitive market. This project likely has evolving requirements, a need for rapid feedback from users, and a high degree of uncertainty. For this, an iterative, agile approach with short cycles, continuous testing, and frequent releases would be ideal. This is tailoring for high uncertainty and rapid market response. Now, contrast that with a project to build a new office building. This project has stringent safety regulations, often fixed physical constraints, and a much lower tolerance for frequent changes once construction begins. Here, a more predictive sequential approach, with detailed upfront planning and strict adherence to a baseline, would likely be more appropriate. This is tailoring for low uncertainty, high regulation, and fixed physical deliverables. The ability to make these informed strategic choices and to justify them is now a fundamental expectation. And finally, another significant change is embracing an array of models, methods, and artifacts rather than a single prescriptive set. This edition explicitly acknowledges that no single publication can possibly capture every tool, technique, or practice that project teams might use. It's just too vast. Therefore, instead of attempting to be exhaustive, it presents a diverse array of commonly used models, methods, and artifacts that project practitioners can use to accomplish their work. This reflects a deeper understanding that the project management landscape is vast, dynamic, and constantly evolving. By providing a representative toolkit, the PMBOK guide encourages project managers to explore beyond its pages, to continually learn, and to select the right tools for the right job. It recognizes the richness of practices available across various industries, methodologies, and approaches. It's about empowering choice and informed decision-making based on context, not simply following a mandated list.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the emphasis moves from a cookbook approach, where you follow exact steps, to more of a culinary school approach, where we learn the underlying principles and adapt techniques as needed. How does that translate to, say, project managers who are used to very rigid, compliance-heavy environments where flexibility might be perceived, maybe even negatively, as risk?
That's a very astute observation, and it highlights a critical challenge, frankly, for many organizations. For project managers in highly regulated or compliance-heavy environments, think pharmaceutical, aerospace, maybe public infrastructure, the shift isn't about abandoning structure altogether, not at all. It's about applying structured flexibility. It means tailoring within defined boundaries, understanding which elements can be adapted without compromising safety, quality, or regulatory adherence.
Ah, so flexibility within limits.
Exactly. For example, while the core development approach for a new drug might need to be highly predictive due to regulatory stages, the internal team collaboration method, or the approach to stakeholder communication, might be tailored for more agility and responsiveness. It cultivates judgment, leadership, and the ability to think critically about the best way to deliver value within the given constraints, rather than just blindly following a checklist. It's about smart adaptation, not uncontrolled improvisation.
Okay, that clarifies it. Structured flexibility. This discussion of adaptability and choice is crucial, especially in today's rapidly evolving project landscape. But it raises a pertinent question. How does the PMBO guide itself, even in its more flexible form, keep pace with such relentless change? Is there a dynamic, living resource that supports and expands on this guide in real time?
You've highlighted an absolutely critical point for any practitioner aiming for continuous relevance, and the answer is a resounding yes. This is precisely where PMIstandards Plus, that's Project Management Institute Standards Plus, comes into play. It's an indispensable component of the modern PMI ecosystem, directly addressing that challenge of keeping project knowledge current in a fast-changing world.
PMIstandards Plus. Okay, what exactly is it?
So PMIstandards Plus is PMI's cutting-edge digital content platform. It's meticulously designed to complement and elaborate on the information presented in the PMBO guide. Think of it as the continually updated, expanded version of the guide. It offers granular detail, practical examples, and real-world applicability that a static printed book simply cannot maintain at the same pace.
So it's more than just the guide online.
Oh, much more. Its content and value are immense. It's packed with current practices and emerging trends. It offers practical examples tailored for different industries and situations. Essentially, it's a treasure trove of information expanding on PMI's entire suite of standards products. This means that if you're looking for real-world case studies of how a specific principle was applied in, say, a hybrid project, or you want a deeper dive into a particular tool or technique mentioned only briefly in the guide.
Or maybe the latest trends.
Exactly. Or even insights into the latest trends like AI's impact on project scheduling that might not make it into a printed edition for some time. PMIstandards Plus is your go-to resource. For instance, if you're stuck on a particular challenge with engaging stakeholders in a complex, multinational agile project, PMIstandards Plus could offer practical templates, case studies, or even discussion forums that expand on the foundational principle of effective stakeholder engagement.
And how reliable is this information? How is it kept current?
That's key. The evolution and credibility of PMIstandards Plus are crucial. It evolved in direct response to the rapid advances and changes we see in project management. The world moves too fast for static documents to remain completely current. PMIstandards Plus provides in-depth information that is fully aligned to PMI standards and, crucially, is carefully vetted by a global panel of subject matter experts. These experts represent a wide range of expertise in industries. This rigorous vetting process ensures that the information you find there is reliable, current, practical, and meets the high standards of the Project Management Institute.
So it's vetted, constantly updated.
Right. To use another analogy, think of the PMBOK guide itself as the foundational constitution for project management. It lays out the core laws, principles, and structure. PMIstandards Plus, then, is like the body of case law, legal commentaries, legislative updates, and practical application guides that keep that Constitution relevant, interpreted for specific situations, and practically applicable in a dynamic world. It's not a static document. It's a living, dynamic, and ever-growing resource that supports continuous learning and adaptation for the modern project professional.
So it's not just a static document. It's really a doorway to a continually updated, expert-curated library of knowledge. That sounds like an invaluable resource for continuous learning for any project professional looking to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. It is the embodiment of continuous improvement and responsiveness within the project management body of knowledge. It's a true companion for the lifelong learner in project management.
Wow, we've covered a lot in this foundational deep dive into Chapter 1 of the PMBOK 7th edition. We've really dissected its new approach and underlying philosophies, setting a strong stage for our future explorations. Let's quickly consolidate the critical takeaways for our listener, just to ensure these key points stick.
Certainly. Here are the essential points to remember from our introduction to the PMBO Guide 7th edition, reflecting its modern, adaptable approach. First, a new architecture for project success. The guide has undergone a fundamental structural transformation. It's now organized around 3 main sections. The 8 interconnected project performance domains. Those are the integrated dynamic areas of focus for project work. Then there's tailoring, which outlines the strategic art of adapting your project management approach. And finally, a diverse array of models, methods, and artifacts, serving as your comprehensive, flexible project management toolkit. This architecture emphasizes fluidity over rigidity.
Right. Domains, tailoring, and the toolbox.
Second, principles as your strategic compass. Crucially, the 12 project management principles, those fundamental norms, truths, and values, are paramount. They provide the ethical and strategic guidance for all behavior within projects, influencing and guiding every activity within the 8 project performance domains. Remember, principles tell you how to act, while domains define where to apply that action to achieve desired outcomes.
Principles guide action within the domains. Got it.
Third, the paradigm shift towards outcomes. This edition represents a significant paradigm shift away from the highly prescriptive, process-based approach with its detailed ITTOs, inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs that characterize previous editions. Instead, it embraces a more flexible, outcome-focused methodology driven by those guiding principles and executed within the performance domains. This change empowers practitioners with far greater adaptability, critical thinking, and strategic influence.
Focus on results, not just process steps.
Fourth, tailoring. A core competency, not an option. Recognizing that no 2 projects are alike, tailoring your project management approach is now seen as an essential core competency, not merely a choice. Deliberately adapting your methods based on the specific context of your project, adhering to the project management principles, and understanding your organizational culture is absolutely fundamental for achieving project success efficiently and effectively in today's diverse environments.
Adaptability is key. Tailoring is expected.
And fifth, PMI Standards plus Tribe, your dynamic knowledge hub. Finally, grasp the dynamic nature of project management knowledge. The PMBO guide is part of a larger evolving ecosystem, with PMI Standards plus serving as an invaluable digital platform. This continually updated, expertly vetted resource provides in-depth information, practical examples, and insights into emerging practices that expand upon and complement the foundational content of the guide, ensuring you, as project professionals, always have access to the very latest knowledge.
The guide plus the living digital resource. Okay. That was a truly illuminating first step into the world of the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. We've certainly gained a much clearer understanding of its modern approach and foundational philosophies, setting a strong stage for our future explorations and I think for how we approach projects every day.
Indeed. We've laid a robust conceptual groundwork. We've emphasized outcomes, adaptability, and ethical conduct as absolutely core to effective project management in today's complex world. This introduction is more than just definitions. It's really a framework for thinking like an effective project leader, equipping you for the nuanced challenges ahead.
So for you, our listener, ponder this provocative thought as you go about your day. How might intentionally focusing on the principles we discussed today, those fundamental norms and values like stewardship, value-focused collaboration, rather than just mechanically checking off tasks, how might that elevate not only the success of your next big endeavor, but also your personal satisfaction and that of your team, whether it's a work project or even a significant personal goal?
It's a great question to reflect on. And next time, we'll begin our much-anticipated deep dive into the first of those fascinating project performance domains. We'll start exploring how these powerful principles manifest in specific, actionable areas of project work and what that means for your practical application day to day.
Thanks for joining us for this in-depth exploration. We look forward to delving more with you very soon.